Trae Solo is out now, and it's another VSCode for specifically designed for the AI age. I want to see if it can replace my current workflow, which is starting a project in Replit, taking it over into Claude Code and preparing it for delivery. I'm also going to pit it up against Cursor to see how it fares in their new agents mode. And if you like what you see, Trae are currently giving away free unlimited access to Solo mode. Bearing in mind this video is not sponsored by Trae. Links down in the description. So without further ado, let's get on with it. I want to build a recipe app where I'm able to upload photos of recipe cards, infer and understand the process and the ingredients, and be able to recall that using natural language and AI search. Oh, let's click optimize. Okay, so it's kind of developed like a PRD for me, which is great. Perfect. I don't know what technologies it's going to use. Let's just see what it comes up with. Voice input already has voice input. I actually used my little plugin that I have, Whisper, I think it's called, or something like that. Choose an agent. Okay, so that's just a quick select thing. You can create an agent, which is interesting. What's this? Enter to add context. And then upload images, which we don't have. Let's give that a whirl. Please open a folder to save this project. Recipe app. Let's do that. So I do believe this is a VS Code fork, but they've really kind of overhauled the interface, particularly in this solo mode. I do like the look. It's kind of refreshing to see something a little bit different. So it's creating some to-dos, which is great to see. Okay, so let's let it rip. Normally this takes, 10, 20 minutes. So whilst it's doing that, let's take a little look. So here's the Explorer. I've seen already that Kilo Code is something that's brought in from Cursor. Code Rabbit is something that's brought in from Cursor, because when I did the setup, I was able to pull those in. That's great to see. This will be search, Git, GitHub Actions, debug, all your usual stuff. We have a browser built in, which is cool. This is something that obviously Cursor 2 introduced. Check that out. That's my PRD. So it's creating admins and users. I wonder what databases can you use, and what OCR technology it's going to use as well. Technical architecture is what I'm interested in. So front end React, TypeScript Tailwind, that makes sense. Vite backend, fast API, Python for AML processing, database, Supabase, authentication, Supabase, file storage, Supabase. I like how it's it's using Supabase for the whole stack there. AI GPT-4, TestSprite OCR for text. So that's good that we're using Python backend. So I'm not massively familiar with Python, but of course I know that a lot of these OCR services run on Python. It's nice just to have the whole stack in Python. So it's going to deploy it to Vercel for the front end, Railway for the back end. And this seems quite modern to me. This doesn't seem like it's like an antiquated tech stack. I don't know. You tell me. I'm okay with that. So I'm guessing it's going to ask me some Supabase credentials and things like that. So yeah, amazing. Yeah, I'm ready to build. Let's go. I will say I'm already feeling really optimistic at this stage. But something I've still struggling to get right is testing of my code. And that's where I want to thank today's sponsor, TestSprite. And I'm growing to be more bullish on having tools dedicated to specific tasks. I've tried using sub agents for testing and writing tests and things like that, and it does an okay job, but nothing like TestSprite. But if we head into Trae here and set up an MCP, you can see that there's already TestSprite in the marketplace there. Add my API key. And I'm just going to disable that because of context, but we'll pick this up a little bit later on when I'm actually ready to run it against the completed solo project. But as you can see, connect to Supabase, I should just be able to log in. Here we go, connect our recipe app that we just created. I'm going to proactively connect my Vercel account, and we're going to be using OpenAI, so let's create an API key for that. Cool, so it's setting up some of these databases. Let's jump back into here. So it looks like we can't can't run open models because we have to go with the provider. We can't set up our own endpoint. I'd love the ability to point this to a local endpoint so we can run local models. And then rules. These are really, really, really important. Now, I'd probably copy these over from Cursor. It's a shame that these weren't copied. Let's actually do that. Paste those in. I think there's a few here. Avoid always run linting, industry best practices, to-do lists, Boolean values. Optimistic, we don't have these. So I use ref and exo MCPs that go and get the latest documentation. We haven't got those MCPs, but I'll leave it in there. Planning a new feature. This is good. MCP, we're going to remove that one. Prompt me to run database migrations. TypeScript errors always delegate to subagent. We kind of want that. Let's try setting up some agent and see if that works. So we'll leave that in. I'm going to leave that. Don't create any new branches. Clean up test data. Cool. So that's transferred over. So with that, let's take a look at subagents. So let's do TypeScript. The annoying thing is about agents is that they kind of, choose to run whenever they want to. It's so undeterministic and there's not a lot we can do about it right now. However, there's nothing stopping us setting up a subagent to hopefully, I believe this will run in its own context. We can give it access to certain tools. So I'm going to uncheck TestSprite from there. Read, write, terminal, stuff like that. That's cool. So let's click Smart Generate, pop that in there, and then see what it comes up with. Great. Create. Let's solo mode call it. Cool, we've got our own subagent. I love that it is a UI. Now, as much as I love Claude code, sometimes it is just nicer with a cleaner UI. And I'm finding this UI just a lot cleaner and a lot more friendly and approachable than Cursor and all of the other VSCode clones, forks. It kind of makes it a joy to work with when it's just as clean as what Trae is. So here we go. Drop view, we've got a terminal here. I kind of like that open. This is kind of similar to what I'd see in Replit. Integrations, we had that open before. Cool. So just for fun, I've put the exact prompt. I mean, granted, it was the one that was auto-generated by Trae, but the point is I put that into Cursor's agents mode. Let's see how they both get on. Now, already I'm seeing it's creating files, which is fantastic, really fast, but it's not confirmed anything with me. I'm going to hold my breath on that. My God, already Cursor has created all of the files. Hasn't asked me to set up any, connections with Supabase or anything for that matter. So I'm actually wondering what it has done. So Next.js project with AppRooter, TypeScript, Tailwind, Supabase for backend and auth, TypeScript query, React hook. I don't know what it's done for OCR. Maybe using the JavaScript version of Tesseract, compressive. Tesseract JS, which is using the JavaScript port of it, which it's a Python library. Saying that, let's install everything. I'm guessing this used Solo because that was just phenomenally fast. Project URL, so we need to set up some environment variables. So it probably did ask us to do that somewhere, but let's do that. I will say it is nice that obviously Trae has those integrations. Okay. What could my... Oh, and Trae has just finished loading as well. Let's sign up. Upload a recipe. I mean, looks fine. We've got no recipes. That's fine. Choose an image. So I guess on my phone, this will actually, choosing a file like this will trigger the camera. So I'm okay with that. Let's actually do that because we'll need it for the test. Well, let's see if we can drag and drop. We should be able to. Yep, cool. Unexpected doc type. Okay. Okay, so it looks like my OpenAI key isn't there. Let's add that. New row violets. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave the cursor one there. We're getting somewhere. Doesn't look as nice, but we had something very fast. Let's focus now back on Trae. So we can deploy it already with Vercel because we've had that set up. We want to create an account. I love the orange, by the way. The UI already looks a lot cleaner. Cool. And we're in. The UI looks fine. Let's see if we can upload a recipe. Upload failed. So it looks like we can go into coder mode. And let's see what should the bucket name be. I like that you can alternate now between the two. That's kind of overthinking it a little bit, but recipe images, so it's the same. Okay, still okay. Uploading, processing text. Tesseract JS coming in clutch. So it has crashed. No pixels return. That's probably going to freeze there then. So let's get that going. Starting OCR. I love that. So starting OCR. So we're going to go. Jesus Christ, it's still thinking. Okay, stop that. We get the following error uploading an image. So it looks like it's chunking it up here, which is great. No pixels returned. Unable to read image. Yeah. So we'll let it do its thing. Okay, seems to have done something. I'm interested in these. This here. Is this the agent that I set up? Not too sure. But let's try it again. Okay, this is going a lot faster now. Upload complete. Can't read. Okay, so we got somewhere. Let's just fix this and let's see the result. Okay, we have it working. Obviously some UI stuff going on. This is the text extraction that's happened from Tesseract. We then run it through AI and it then infers that, I guess cleans it up, which I can see here. And then theoretically my recipes, untitled recipe, here it is. So we have it all working, minus a few bits and bobs, but it's fully integrated with Supabase, uploading the recipe. Probably don't need to keep that recipe around. Plenty of stuff that we can do to improve this. I'm really happy with this. So what I would do now is I would probably open up the coder mode and actually we'll turn on the TestSprite MCP server and we will say set up the project using TestSprite and we'll see how that goes. And you can see here it's setting up TestSprite for the front end, for the back end, generating and running tests. So you can see the importance of actually having a specific tool dedicated to doing a specific task. And now it's writing the test. So let's open this up in a new window here. Testing types, testing account, optional. I'm going to do this. Which actually works perfectly. There we go. It's generating a summary now. So the tests have run, it's given me a summary and there's some things I need to fix here. So let's just ask the coder to do this. So basically the project or the MCP server ran, it fixed what was breaking those tests, what was making them run incorrectly. And you can see that it's running with 4 out of 10 without me lifting a finger. It then went ahead and fixed the code base, fixed the test, and now we get a 10 out of 10 pass. Now what it's doing is I would notice that it hadn't written any front-end tests or it wasn't doing any front-end tests. So I said, create some front end tests. So now we're going through them now. We're now at 24. One's failed. I'll let it do its thing, and then we'll catch up to see what happens at the end of this run. Giving me some great errors here, and I was just looking at, let's say, for example, this one that failed. We can see that there's an incorrect password. The login form submits, but no error message or feedback is shown. So various things like that have prevented some of these tests passing. So once again, we can say make updates based on this result. And now the AI can look at the errors that it's encountered, make the relevant fixes, hopefully get a lot more of these tests passed. And here we go. There's the summary here. The tests have run. And if we look at my dashboard, take a look at, for instance, the invalid login credentials, you'll see that it logs in and the UI has been updated with invalid login credentials. Now, it doesn't look pretty, but we can address that. But you can see how the AI took the results of the test, made the relevant updates, and made the code base better. There's a few more that it's failed on that we can look into. There are some limitations of actually uploading the files I saw, but there are some UI things like light mode, dark mode that we haven't had implemented yet. So again, using TestSprite as a foundation to build more features and more robust features into our app. Right, let's take a look at the pricing, because of course this is a huge thing, huge factor nowadays. I'm paying for Claude code, I'm paying for, credits on Kilo code. It adds up. So what is Trae actually offering? Immediately, if we compare this to Cursor starts here at $20. Now, first month you get for free, which is, you get a free trial obviously with Solo, and then the first month is $3. This is pretty good. Even still, $10 is half the price of Cursor. And that gives you all the features basically, which is a really compelling offer, to be honest. 600 requests and unlimited slow requests. What's there's unlimited? I think you basically get 20, if I remember rightly, you get $20 or $60 usage of the models at API pricing. Now, it is worth saying that none of those solo requests cost me anything just because I'm on that free trial of the max plan. Now, it's safe to assume they're probably a bit more expensive. If we have a look at some of the later calls I've done, even the auto cost me a credit and the GPT medium cost me a credit. So whether these cost 2 credits or something like that, I'm not quite sure at this stage, but just give you an idea of how much of the usage. And I have said this before, I don't know how sustainable the credit request thing is. Again, Cursor did this, but they've then moved on to the API mode. So whether they maintain that, GPT-5 medium is one request indefinitely, I'm not too sure, but it's yet to be seen. Obviously, saving, you get it for $7.50. I want to know if you can actually buy additional credits. So taking a look here, when it starts to chat and the AI responds, if a request results in an error, model returns image. Chat will not consume AI requests. However, AI has completed its response, so it's only when it responds that you actually get charged for it. What happens if I run out? Can I buy credits? For most people use that. The only way to continue using AI credits is to upgrade a Pro plan. For Pro plan, once Fastly used up, there are 2 options: continue using premium and advanced models via slow requests with limited limitations, or purchase an extra package to get additional fast requests. So I'm not quite sure how you do that, but the biggest thing here obviously is training. So let's go here and search train. We may use your content to provide, maintain, update services, comply with law and terms and policies, train our models, and keep services alive. You can limit the use of your content by providing instructions here. So just make sure you do that if you are sensitive to this sort of stuff. Enable, and then you've got enable privacy mode. So that's worth checking out. I'm really impressed with Trae, the solo mode. How it compares to Cursor. Obviously, Cursor is a lot faster, but I didn't feel like it was as robust. The interface, honestly makes a little bit of a difference here. I just like seeing something a bit different, something a bit cleaner, more dedicated. Whereas I feel like Cursor is becoming very bloated and almost quite difficult to use as everything's kind of hidden. Trae seems to have refined VS Code specifically for the AI age. I would even go as far as saying that I would probably opt to use Trae over something like Claude Code. Oftentimes within Replit, I create the project and then take it straight into Claude Code, whereas I was happy to utilize the browser here to see if things worked and get something working here without worrying about the cost, because of course this is half the price of Cursor, it's half the price of Replit. It solves a lot of problems cost-wise that I was having in my current workflow. I'm going to continue using Trae, certainly for starting up projects, getting it going, and having Claude Code as that kind of backup everyday workflow, because I do like that slightly more reserved interface that Claude Code has. But I do also know they have I think Trae also has a CLI, so I might look into that. Let me know if you want me to look into the CLI. Thanks TestSprite once again for sponsoring the video. Links down below for all that stuff, as well as free and limited access to Trae. Cheers for tuning in, and keep on vibing.